Hello everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm Andy with Integrity Data Insights. This episode focuses on a prosecutor faced with some real dishonesty. Hear how he handled it, what he ended up losing at first, but then what he ended up gaining in return. Today's moment of integrity focuses on Lance Salyers. Lance and I did work together at the same big company, but our paths didn't really cross too much there, and we really didn't get to know each other too much until after that time. So in one chapter of Lance's career, he worked as a prosecutor. He worked in the county prosecutor's office, and the situation was the elected prosecutor, his boss, was going to be leaving. So the position was going to be vacant, so naturally there was some jockeying for position around the office. And Lance became aware of one person, one of his colleagues, that was very interested in that position. During that time period, Lance became aware of some writing that this person had submitted. And Lance was struck because Lance was the author of this work, not this person, which we'll now call Mr. Plagiarism. So Lance found out that, this guy's stealing his work and passing it on as his own. So Lance ends up talking to his boss about it, the guy that's on his way out, and was told, hey, I'll handle it. Don't worry about it, I'll handle it. So time keeps passing by, and Lance is doing what prosecutors do. He's gathering evidence. He's making sure all his ducks are in a row, making sure that he has all the facts straight. Well, the prosecutor didn't like that, and told Lance that. And long story short, this continues, and Lance gets called into a meeting, and one thing leads to another, and Lance is being asked to resign. Lance is shocked, can't believe this is happening, how could this be? But, Lance resigns. So even though Lance resigned, his story did not end there. Lance decided, this guy can't become the prosecutor. Mr. Plagiarism can't become the prosecutor. That it just would not be good. So Lance decides to run against him. And he did. Lance and Mr. Plagiarism and about two other people ran for the appointment. So these four people are up for the position. It was kind of an out of cycle thing where there wasn't an election. It was more the party representatives that were going to decide on it. So the four people are making their arguments to the committee as to why they should be chosen the next prosecutor. So a couple pieces of great news came out of this. Number one, Mr. Plagiarism did not win. So that was a good thing. Lance didn't win either, but that was okay because Lance didn't really want the position. He mainly just didn't want Mr. Plagiarism to get it. But the person that did win it did some really neat things afterwards. So after he got appointed, immediately during that session, he walks over to Mr. Plagiarism and says, "You no longer work here, and by the way, you probably need an attorney." So he took care of business right away, but he wasn't done. He walked over to Lance, who was there with his wife, and told Lance, "Hey, I expect to see you at work back on Monday." So obviously Lance is thrilled with that. That's what he didn't want to leave. So Lance was thrilled, and he did take him up on the offer and continued working there afterwards. So just a great ending to what otherwise looked like a pretty bad situation. Turned out to kind of have a happy Hollywood ending. So as today's story illustrates, many times living with integrity, doing the right thing, standing up against an injustice can cost us something. There's a loss, there's a sacrifice. For Lance, it cost him his job. But the part I really find fascinating about this story is not that part, but afterwards. After Lance resigned, he could have easily walked away. He could have easily just said, you know, I don't want to deal with this drama. I don't need this in my life. Good luck, you guys. I hope it works out. But he didn't do that. Lance stayed around. He rolled up his sleeves. He continued his mission of righting this wrong, of making sure that the people of his county, you know, weren't going to be served by someone that was willing to, you know, lie and to do all these deceptive things. So that's just incredible that Lance hung around after what happened, and just the integrity and the perseverance and everything that took was just truly remarkable to me. Thanks so much for joining me for this episode of A Moment of Integrity. Once again, I'm Andy with Integrity Data Insights. Please contact me if you have any ideas for a future episode or a story that you'd love to share. I'd love to hear from you.